Hi, welcome to my studio, Elegant and Earthy. I am making mugs today, and I have my clay all formed into balls. This is reclaimed clay. I spent earlier today making plates, so all the clay that I used or didn't use to make the plates is now going to be mugs. So I've also found a treatment that I'm really enjoying working with. It's a vinyl decal, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. I think I have a little clay in my hair. It's beautiful, isn't it? And so the vinyl decals, I need something to decorate with the vinyl decals, so I've got to make some more mugs. So here we are. The first thing you do is you put your lump of clay in the center of your bat, and then just go ahead and slap center the clay till you get a nice triangular shape. Give it a couple of pounces on the top. Make sure your inside hand is nice and wet. And then I begin by having my elbow right into my hip and holding my hand still, and then just pushing the clay, pushing the clay down so that it adheres to the bat really well. And then you push it up into a nice cone shape. That's called coning up. When you're centering the clay, and that's what we're doing first, you have your wheel going kind of fast. Get it nice and wet. Now I get a nice cone shape. So I wrap my hands around and my thumbs on top, and I push my thumbs away from me a little bit so that I can get the top to come down. And then I have a nice mound shape. And I still have my elbow right into the joint of my hip. And now I'm going to karate chop this clay into a nice disc shape. Now as this is going around, I can feel some bubbles in it, which is pretty normal when you're working with reclaimed clay. And I'm not really worried about the bubbles. I used to be when I first started throwing, but they don't bother me anymore. Just put my elbow back in my hip, use my thumb as a tool and my 3 fingers to push my thumb down into the center of this vessel. I think you can see some of the bubbles. So I get to about where I think the bottom of this vessel should be. You can see these bubbles are popping as I bring my thumb closer to myself. There's one left on the rim and it's gone now. Then I just want to go ahead and check the thickness of the clay, which will determine how thick the bottom of the vessel is. These mugs will not have a foot, so this is the thickness that I'm happy with. So once I do that, I just want to put a little more water in here and kind of smooth it out and fill that hole in that I just made. I like to use a wooden rib to continue smoothing out the bottom. And I first start with the curved edge facing outward, and then I bring it into the center. I don't know if you could see that, but there's more bubbles that are surfacing. And I might have to just go pop them. Pop this one. There's one more over here someplace. Let's see. Oh, maybe it's right here. Pop them. You pop them, you put water in them. Fill them up with water. That way air probably will evacuate. And then I'm just gonna push the clay into those holes. That's good. Get my water out of the way. And now back to making a nice smooth bottom. And then I'll turn my rib over and I'll create the corner of the mug by pushing the 90-degree angle into the side. And now I'm bringing the rib back over to the center to further encourage a nice flat bottom. There we go. It's going to be perfect. Okay. Then the next step is to hug the pot. And we hug the pot by putting a lot of water on it and then pulling our hands toward us and up, kind of like a 30-degree angle from the bottom, from the bat, inward and upward. This got a little cattywampus, so I'm just gonna smooth it out a little bit. All right, now I'm just gonna take my throwing sponge, which is this Mud Tool. You can almost see the name in it, Mud Tool throwing sponge. I gotta put a little moisture on the inside here, okay? And on the outside, and I have my hands together, one finger below the other finger, and I'm working with these two fingers. And I'm pushing the clay in at the bottom near the bat, and then I'm pushing out a tiny bit with my middle finger on the inside hand, and then I'm just raising the clay up a little bit at a time. This got really off balance, so I'm gonna stick my whole hand in here, push the clay in again. And then just raise the clay up again. As you get closer to the top, trying to be a little careful because it's a little more vulnerable. The clay is a little more vulnerable at the top. There we go. Nice tall vessel on 2 pulls. I'm gonna try a 3rd pull and just kind of create a more uniform wall here. There we go. It's pretty good. There might be another bubble at the top. Well, at this point, I have quite a bit of water in the center, so I just want to sop it up. There we go. And then I'm going to use the sponge to push on the vessel and kind of remove some of the moisture from the inside. I think at this point I'll go ahead and use my Dirty Girls tool and make the foot. There we go. Then I will take my metal rib and push in just above that foot. Make a nice coherent line for this vessel that wants to have a big bump in it. There, kind of get the bump out of it. There we go. It's pretty good. It still has a little bit of a bump. And if this one makes it through the process, that's probably where I will put the handle so as to distract from that little irregularity. Okay. I'm going to use a nice soft rib on the inside and remove the moisture on the inside. Here's my nice soft rib. There we go. So I have to dry it up with my washcloth because I'm trying to remove the moisture. So I'll just stick it in here and just gently let the wheel spin, and I'll just gently take away the slip that's on the inside and of the vessel. I'm going kind of slow, trying to keep the shape from changing. Okay, when I get to the top, I'm going to kind of turn the top out just a little bit. we go. So that's the slip that was on the inside. I'm going to reestablish the 90-degree angle in the bottom. And get a nice pretty floor. There, a nice smooth pretty floor. I think I need a little bit of moisture in here. There we go. There we go. Okay, I like that. So I've cleaned up the outside and the inside, and I'm going to reestablish the foot. Sometimes that gets a little bit off when we clean up the outside. Okay, and then I'm just going to use my finger to soften that line. All right. And then the piece to resist almost. Come to the top, have moistened fingers, and then just go ahead and cut a little bit of the top off like this. There. And then I can take this little tool I have, this little bit of suede, and go ahead and wrap it around the rim like this. And I'm trying to form a nice rim that you would want to wrap your lips around. So I'm angling it outward, and I'm bringing a point right to the outside where it would set in your mouth. There we go. I'm just gonna check that with my finger and see if I like how that feels. Sometimes when you cut the top off like I had to with this one, you have to work on the rim a little bit longer to get the shape that you're going for. So I'm just going to take the slip that built up on the outside away, and the slip that built up on the inside when we were forming the rim away. And I'll just go over that with my finger to smooth that out. Take away any lines that have formed. There we go. So because I'm working with white clay here, and white clay has a tendency to crack and have S-cracks as it's drying, I'm just going to take some of this water and kind of float it underneath the vessel. And obviously the vessel wants to come off the board. And that way I'll have less chance of it cracking. They still sometimes crack, but it's less likely that it will crack. And when I'm going to let this dry and firm up and set up, I like to take all the extra moisture off of the bat so that, you know, it doesn't impede the drying process. And then I just got to shake this off the wheel. It's stuck pretty good.